Hi, this is Tucker O'Hare, and this is my Module 1 EDL 959 on academic and non-academic activities. I'm going to start with personal demographics. And so things that are important to me are family, friends, football, golf, hunting. You can see my family on the top right there. That's my wife and 2 kids. And then a picture of coaching football this year. And then the golf pictures from a little while back. And educational and work history. Graduated from Andale High School in 2011, and then went to Fort Hays State University, got my bachelor's in biology education, and I currently have 24 hours completed in the education administration program. I worked my first 5 years at Dodge City High School from 2016 to 2021, and the last 2 years, or a year and a half, a little over that, at Valley Center Middle School from 2021 to present. I'm going to start with a summary of articles. The Effectively Yours article is talking about non-academic activities being arguably more important than academic activities, and I thought that article did a really good job of kind of explaining, why non-academic activities are so important, and relating that to when you get outside of school and in the job and the workforce. Why those, and even in school, why those non-academic activities are so important. The second article, the Gallup article, is the assessment of each is equally important. So that was talking about how, schools assessing students' understanding of those non-academic activities versus the academic activities being equally important. And I thought that article, did a good job of explaining that, and just how schools have to assess that and determine, what are the best activities, to be using for these non-academic activities, because you have less time for those. So you got to be, more precise on what you're going to talk about during those times. And then the Glenn article, the importance of curriculum to teaching. That was a good article, just talking about, obviously curriculum is important to teachers. That's what they're doing all the time. It's going to determine what they're teaching. And so just the importance of that. And then again, when you're talking about those non-academic curriculum points, you got to be even more specific, because I think a lot of schools do it this way, but we are typically on a lot of that non-academic curriculum, maybe one day a week, if you're talking about like the SEL part of it. And then the Commence article is like talking about the agreement regarding the need for other stuff, and just talking about how, like, teachers and schools, parents outside of the education field all kind of agree that other stuff is important. And then kind of the tough part of trying to put a name to that. What do we call other stuff? And just going through all those different names for other stuff, I think social emotional learning is kind of the most popular one that's coming through now for that name. And then the Olson article talked about teachers being vital to the technology-rich curriculum, and that was just trying to shed light on, you can't buy a ton of technology and throw it in classrooms and expect that to improve your curriculum. The teachers have to understand how to use it, so you've got to do that PD. You got to give those teachers training to understand how to teach kids how to use the technology to enhance their understanding of the curriculum. And then the Reach article on digital equity, that was an interesting article, just talking about the divide there between like affluent areas and then areas that are, have less resources, and how that divide is, almost doubled, because a lot of times the affluent areas have more school funding, and then so they have more technology, and then on top of that, it seems like parents in those areas maybe do more with that at home, and so then it kind of like doubles on itself, the inequity there. So that article kind of talked about ways to focus to try to create equity, to make sure that you're not, doubling the effect there by just feeling like, oh, well, we don't have any technology, and so we can't use it anyways. And then the Stafford Brizard article was a good article. It was talking about the necessity of non-academic skills. So again, just trying to reinforce, hey, how important these skills are. Even though they're not, maybe the academic skills that are being tested on a state test or anything, they're necessary, and how important they are, not just for, outside of school, but even in school. You've got to have good non-academic skills in order to gain academic skills. And improving those non-academic skills are going to help your academic skills in the long run. And then the Tyler Woods article on implementing technologies in a middle school, that was a really specific article talking about a specific implementation of technology in one middle school, and just going through how that school went about that implementation and things that went well. I thought it did a really good job of being specific as it goes through. It was a long article, gave a lot of detail there at the end and in the middle. And I only had those 8 articles. There was one of the 9 that I was not able to open and then couldn't find that page. The critical reflection, the 10 academic activities at Valley Center, the school district, they've got a really good gifted gen ed, IS, which is individual support, and then mixed abilities and PBS rooms. There's a place there for kids of all skill levels. So I think the school does a really good job on that. I know families move into the area for the special education program, and the fact that it's tiered like that, and there's a lot of options for kids there. So you're not, you're always, able to move up, and you've got the least restricted option for your kids. And then STEM, we've got STEM classes in the middle school, and those are awesome. Academic activities and options. It's a elective that kids can take. And then we do one-on-one Chromebooks at Valley Center, and the SIT team is what SIT stands. SIT stands for Student Improvement Team, and they meet every Tuesday morning. Just talking about kids that could benefit from having some help, and just trying to strategize. Hey, this kid's falling behind. What's going on? What are you seeing in your class? And you've got teachers from every group there, so that helps. And then 5 and 6, both I've got in a white font there, just because those are 2 that I feel like we could improve on. I think the science fair is awesome. What we do for the intermediate and elementary age kids. It's one of those things that I just feel like could be expanded a little bit, but it's really awesome what we're doing now. I just feel like you could expand it throughout the school, possibly, instead of just doing it in the younger ages. And then college credit courses, we offer a few courses, and I just feel like that's something that we're always talking about. Is it would be nice if we could add to the staff in the high school and be able to offer more college credit courses. Find those people that are willing to do it, that would be good at it, so that we can add to that and have more options for kids. And then parents as teachers, that's PAT. I didn't even know about this group until I started researching for this article, but it's a really cool group in the district. They go out and kind of help prenatal to 5-year-old parents to try to prepare their kids to get them ready for school age. And then Valley Center Education Foundation, that's a foundation that offers grants to teachers, so teachers can write up proposals for grants. And actually, the intermediate school, a teacher did that last year, and then this year, with the grant money, was able to do the surgery day, which is number 10 here, where they had their students decked out in scrubs and hairnets and everything, and they were going through surgeries on these cutouts of anatomy parts. It was really cool. And then number 9 is the Wax Museum. The intermediate school does that, where kids dress up as figures from history that they're studying in history courses, and then they make a foldable, and they'll spread them out in the gymnasium, and parents walk through and they can read through the foldables, and the kids stand there like wax figures in their outfits. It was pretty interesting. And then the 2 that I would add would be educational organization. I just think kids would benefit so much, even if you just talked about how to organize things in Google Drive, would be great for kids. And also, obviously, physical organization with their materials. And then STEM night, that's something we did in Dodge City that I feel like would go over really well in Valley Center. just getting like high school kids to set up projects throughout the high school, and then you can invite families in to bring their young kids and run through, all those projects. Um, Something that went over really well at Dodge City. And then 10 non-academic activities. I've got athletics. That's a big one, obviously. Clubs, I've got in white because I think that's one that we could do better. We already do. I think some of the things we do are awesome. Almost every teacher in the middle school does a club during second and third quarter. And so you got about 17 Fridays there where you're meeting with kids that have selected your club. I did golf club this year. I just think maybe a little bit more time to plan for that would be good, but it's a great idea and it's good for the kids. Number 3 is advisory SEL lessons. We do lessons every Wednesday in advisory that the counselors put together, and it's great. And it's one of those deals where I feel like the counselors do a great job. Obviously, they're limited on the amount that they can add there because it's only on Wednesdays. And then character focused reminders. It's just something I do at the start of every class. I try to do reminders on things that are going on in class, and I just try to put in like one character thing. So I feel like it's tough when you're only talking about that stuff on Wednesdays during advisory. Kids kind of tone out and they're like, okay, we're talking about this again. But if you talk about it at the start of every class, and just sprinkle something in here and there, then maybe it goes over a little better for them. Number 5, career guest speakers. We just brought some career guest speakers in about a month ago, and kids loved it. They had the option to go to 3 different. We had about 18 in the building, and they could select the 3 they wanted to. They did 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. So the last hour of the day was really cool there. They had a chance to listen to a speaker and then ask questions. We do Hornet halves and hardships. So when kids are doing things, just doing the right things, showing good character, pride in the school, responsibility, they get a have. If they're doing the wrong things, they could get a hardship, and those things add up for them throughout the year. And number 8, I had in white, so that's incentive days. We take hardships into account there. So if you have too many hardships or you're failing a class, you don't get to participate in the incentive day at the end of the quarter. And then those kids that are in good standing with grades and with their not having hardships or too many hardships, then they get to participate in that incentive day. And again, they're signing up for things that they want to do, and teachers are leading activities that day. I just feel like it's something we can constantly improve, and so that's why I made it white there. And then pep rallies, we always do that at the end of the incentive day on that last Friday of the quarter, and those are awesome. Obviously, you're getting high energy from the kids. You're trying to get everybody pumped up, and those are fun. And then food drives, obviously it's good for kids to understand, hey, that you can help other people and you can help other organizations. So we do that on a pretty regular basis. The 2 that I would add would be talking about growth mindset during like the Wednesday lessons. We used to do that in Dodge City a lot. When we've done it a little bit here, I just think it's super important to try to get kids to have a growth mindset. And then perspective building small groups. I think it would be good to break kids into small groups on those Wednesdays and every now and then, and give them an activity where they can try to gain perspective from somebody else and try to show some empathy. I think that's something that we struggle with sometimes, but just trying to build empathy in kids. And then concluding statements, my relevancy statement. This assignment was relevant to my learning because as a school leader / principal, it will be my responsibility with the help of my staff to create a robust system of academic and non-academic technology-rich activities that accurately reflect the community and school shared vision. I just thought this was a great assignment. I already felt, pretty strongly about non-academic activities, but even more so now. And then personal reflection. I thought this was cool to think about what I would do to try to figure out the state of the curriculum if, as I'm going into my first job as an administrator. So after accepting my first administrator position, I would have used a series of surveys to prepare for student meeting or staff meetings in which we would discuss the current state of the school curriculum, including positives and negatives that need to be addressed. So I'd try to put out like a Google form beforehand and get a feel from the teachers. Hey, what academic curriculum do you like? Do you dislike? What non-academic curriculum do you like? Do you dislike? That way it can kind of start that conversation and we can figure out what's good, what's bad, what do we maybe want to change. And then these are my references.